for all the children who don't live in noisy village. These are the words of Anna, one of the inhabitants of Astrid Lindgren's famous noisy village, or Bullerbyn. And I think that compared to many other places one could have grown up in, noisy village is not really that noisy. Rather, it symbolizes harmony and simplicity in many minds. I don't think that any of us had a childhood that exactly matches what was depicted in Astrid Lindgren's books about noisy village. And sure, there are children who can barely recognize themselves in this idyllic and peaceful village. Children, with their vivid imagination, they have no problems to imagine themselves in another context. On a pirate ship, in a magic forest, or why not living in noisy village. But sometimes you might actually need to be able to recognize yourself. You might need a book to show that you're not alone. You're not the only one growing up in a family that doesn't look like a classical fairy tale. It is not just you who is witnessing fights over how the rent for the next month should be paid. You're not alone to have to comfort your mother when she doesn't want to get up in the morning. There are as many childhoods as there are people who have ever lived. And actually, if we include all daydreams, all fears, and all wishful thinking, there are even more childhoods. Bart Moeyaert, you have showed us so many different childhoods. They are intriguing, sometimes strange, but sometimes also strangely familiar. Some of us can relate to parts of some of them, and others can relate to other parts, just like Astrid Lindgren. You see the child and the young adult in all its facets. You see the inner and the outer contradictions, conflicts, and also the reconciliation. The same way you help the young reader to see him or herself, you help us grown-ups to see the different realities of the next generation. The realities that you let us see are a lot of things. They are violent, passionate, boring, funny, embarrassing, and generous. But they are not black and white. Growing up is not always easy, but the sympathy and solidarity we see between friends, between brother and sister, or between the writer and his characters make it easier to face the different worlds out there. The children who don't live in noisy village, they don't need our pity. They need our respect and attention, our empathy and imagination. And we all need writers like Bart Moeyaert. And therefore, I'm very happy to warmly congratulate you on behalf of the Swedish government on the award of the world's most distinguished prize for children's and young adult literature. Thank you, Bart, for showing us the noisy villages, towns, families, and friends, and all the noisy childhoods that are out there.
Children that I still remember. But do you know what? Isn't it nice to slow down and to ask for someone's attention and to indicate by saying, vet du vad, that you've lost, that you've just had a new thought or you want to share a new thought? Do you know what? Last week, the Alma organization gave me a treat that went on for days. I got to visit, for instance, Vimmerby for the first time. I had lunch. Do it again. I had lunch in the place where my third grandmother had grown up. A grandmother I never met, but I certainly knew her through her books. When I made my debut as an author at the age of 19, and realized that people were expecting not only books from me, but a whole body of ideas. I would sometimes hold up the translation of Samuel August von Sevenstorp, Anna Hult, during my talks. A book not only about the family Astrid Lindgren came from, but also about her life as an author. Of all the vet de var moments I've encountered on my own path as a writer, the brief chapter in that book in which he speaks to me as a children's author is the first key. I have quoted Astrid on many occasions, in lectures, interviews. I am indebted to her, and I have been naming her name for over 35 years now. I also like to name her to be a bit of a troublemaker, and to point out to my fellow authors, particularly writers of fiction for adults, that they urgently need to learn to be polite and to state their roots. Name the children's writers and children's books that have influenced you. Talk about the foundation that is etched in your memory. That's not shameful. On the contrary, it's honorable. In this, they could have just deposited me on the steps of the Red House that I know so well from photographs and drawings, and come to pick me up sometime next year. Some of the apple trees were still in bloom. Of course, the apple trees in Vimmerby have nothing, absolutely nothing to do with True's pink-red apple tree, full of ripe golden fruit in the orchard of a lifelong dream. But being here now, receiving this beautiful award that honors Astrid Lindgren, my whole body is breathing the most important thing of all. That it is a privilege for all of us to sow and plant, fertilize and propagate, to pick apples, to give and take, and to pass on and let go, and constantly, yes, constantly to keep on asking one another, children in particular, vet du var? Vet du var? I would like to thank Her Royal Highness Crown Princess Victoria of Sweden. Your presence here underlines the relevance of the important message that Astrid Lindgren represents. Her Majesty, the Queen of the Belgians, who I know would have liked to be here today, also shares that same message. For years now, the Queen has encouraged me and my fellow writers and colleagues in the world of children's books, supporting the importance of reading and of reading to one another. Dear Amanda Lind, I'm telling you this a little too late, but it is a pity that you are not a candidate in our country. I would have voted for you. You seem like a very nice minister of culture and democracy. It's wonderful when a government fully supports children's culture. I would like to thank the jury of the Astrid Lindgren Memorial Award. You have read me in the way that every writer would like to be read. Never before have I felt so understood. And when I declared my love to Boel Westin on the phone, that love was meant for all of you. So, yeah. So does anyone know of a nice library where we can all move in together and live happily ever after? But who's going to cook for all of us? And who's going to make the kanelbullar? Oh, I would like to thank Mariella, Lisa, and Helen Siegeland in particular. For this wonderful way that you have walked beside me in recent days, matching my pace, and helping me in such a nice, humorous, and unobtrusive manner. Helen, I think you are a wonderful woman. I would like to thank Norbert and Jacques, Dick, Lucienne, Wendy and Annette of Cradle Publisher, the people who have been reading me since the 1980s and who see me as I am and who have taken me along with them for goodness knows what reason. Oh, now it's getting difficult. I would like to thank Jonathan, Martin, man van mijn hart, jag älskar dig. Thank my dear friends and my colleagues in the world of children's books who have encouraged and supported me over the years, particularly the people of Flanders literature and Ippie Flanders, who kept believing in me as an Alma nominee. I would like to thank all of you who are here today to share this important moment with me. Don't applaud. And finally, I would like to thank my 6 brothers and my mom and my dear departed dad. You are the ground beneath my feet, the entire planet, in fact. Or to return to Truth's mega hit and our lifelong dream, you are the entire orchard full of apple trees.